The LA riots have faded from the headlines, but the violence that fueled those riots continues to snuff out the lives of many young people living in America's inner cities. Charlene Hunter-Gault recently spent some time with a unique group of New York City youths who are doing everything they can to increase the peace.
Manhattan lies a quieter place, Roosevelt Island, and there sits a building that time and society have seemingly forgotten, Goldwater Memorial Hospital. Its patients are those who can't afford to go anywhere else. Back in the 1930s, they were TB patients, then polio. Now, many of the victims of New York's urban wars end up here. Young men and women paralyzed and maimed from the weapons of urban terror, guns, knives, and even cars. But several of these patients are no longer content to remain in obscurity. They formed a group called Power, people opening the world's eyes to reality. They are united by both their paralyzing injuries and their commitment to spreading the word of nonviolence. Recently, the group came to Thomas Jefferson High School, a Brooklyn school that saw 2 students shot and murdered in the same day last winter.
I'm Pedro Quiñones, age 21, gunshot victim, became paralyzed from the chest down, lost the use of my hands along with it. Took only 1 bullet to do this to me, 9mm. What happened was I was standing in front of my building with a 5-year-old kid, and a shootout broke out. Some drug dealers were fighting over territory, so they started a shootout. And I turned around and grabbed the kid, and I got hit. None of y'all here in this room know what it is to be in a wheelchair, and I hope y'all never do get a chance to experience it, because it's hard, you know. Right now, I gotta depend on everybody to do everything for me. If I got a glass of soda, a glass of water on top of the table, if they don't give me that water or that soda, I won't get it. 'Cause I can't get it on my own. I gotta depend on people to wash me up, people to dress me up, people to put me in a wheelchair, to push me around. And it's difficult, you know. It's like my life was taken away. You know, it doesn't belong to me anymore. And y'all don't know that bullet is not, a bullet is not prejudice. It would hit anybody of any age, any race, female or male, baby or grown up or anything.
Octavio Marin is an assistant administrator at the hospital and works closely with the group, which he helped organize.
Our members of the Power organization, they all had money, one way or another. Most of them the other way. By selling drugs, they had the gold, they had the jewelry, they had the cars, they had the women, they had the sneakers. Where is that all now?
86, I got shot in the leg. 87, I got shot in the back. I went to jail at end of 87. Came out 89. 1990, I got stabbed in the back. I had my red Mazda. I was making $7,500 a week. It wasn't worth it. You know what it was like to me? You know what it was like? Waking up the next morning like watching Cinderella. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't last. That fast lane does not last.
Jerome Wheeler was a young man of the streets. He had been involved in drug smuggling, drug selling. He would sell guns, you name it, contracts, the whole works. He was also shot on 2 other occasions, except the 2 other occasions didn't paralyze him. It was a stab wound to the spine that finally put him in a wheelchair and finally opened his eyes to reality.
Hello, my name is Donna Hyatt, 22 years old. I wasn't a gunshot wound. I was in a car accident. I was hit by 2 cars. And me and my mother, we think that was done on purpose because of all the wickedness that I was doing out there, stealing cars, selling drugs, running around with my friends wanting to look fly and this and that. You know, but that's not the way. It's not even worth it. When I was 14 years old, I was making $100 a day. And in 1984, that was a lot. $700 a week, that was a lot. What I'm saying is, though, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You know, get your education, stay in school. You know, I'm trying to get back into school. You know, I'm in college now. I'm going to be attending college. You know, I'm trying to do positive things with myself, try to turn my life around. But do you see all the things that I had to go through in order to just turn myself around? Y'all don't have to go through that. That's why we came here to talk to y'all. So maybe somebody will get the message, and y'all don't have to go through what we've been through. Peace.
Mr. Wilson Murphy, or better known as the Murph.
The doctors told my mother, Miss Murphy, he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it. And if he does make it, he's gonna be a tomato. Now, I was 199 pounds solid when I got shot. I was in the weightlifting, picking up women. You know what I'm saying? I was in the boxing. I used to take my son to the gym. We used to, put on the gloves. I can't do that no more. I got to box him from the wheelchair. And now he's kicking my butt. And he's only 8 years old.
Murphy was hit 5 times, 4 times with an Uzi through the body, and 1 time in the head with a 9mm bullet, which is still lodged in the brain. So he was an innocent bystander.
I know what it feels like to be 16, 17. Can any one of these students tell me how does it feel to be 31 years old? No. In other words, I've been where you at. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying, stop that macho bullshit. Take that energy and convert it into something positive.
In talking to some students after the power group left, it was clear their message got through.
They a reflection of us in the mirror. It's the same situation, the same age, the same area, and the same type of things. And they got into it, so it just shows us if we get into it, we could be exactly like they are.
Because first it was like, people in the wheelchair, what they doing here? Well, we know they're not going to dance. And I know that was the reaction of some of them, because they're used to people coming in here dancing for them or singing for them and everything and performing. I mean, just listen sometimes. That's what they have to do, listen. And once they got beyond the shock of the wheelchair, it was like they had something important to say to me. So that's when it really hit them.
Being like blacks and Hispanics, they see that there's their own kind, their own culture happen to them, okay? They're paralyzed. They can't do nothing for themselves. So it should get through everybody, every teenager in the school mind, all right? It should get through the head.
And they didn't lie to us or nothing. They told us exactly what happened, and they told us everything. You can see everybody listening. Everybody was paying attention,
One of the power group's members, too sick to attend the Jefferson talk, was Eddie Matos. He, in fact, came up with the idea for the group and was himself a student at Thomas Jefferson. He was shot and paralyzed at the age of 16.
His mother was killed when he was 12 years old. His mother was brutally murdered, and it left him pretty much on his own.
It was raped, throat sliced. They dumped on the Bell Parkway. Ever since I heard about that, I just changed. I just ain't care about nothing.
Eddie had to figure out a way to survive, and he began to sell drugs and sort of develop a drug empire by age 16. This resulted in his accident, which was a bullet to his neck, which left him paralyzed from the neck down and is on a respirator.
Shortly after their talk at Jefferson High, I sat down with Eddie Matos and some of the other power group members at Goldwater Memorial Hospital. I spoke with them about their lives and their beliefs about what needs to be done to stop urban violence. Eddie, what's your medical situation since you've been shot? What's happening to you now?
I just stay in my bed and I don't be wanting to get up because I get a lot of spasms. It's depressing for me because I just don't want to get up because it's depressing. I'm only 18 years old.
Murphy?
I have movement all through my body. I have a bullet enlarged in my head, and that controls, part of my body. It's just that the bullet in my head, it prevents me from walking. I lost a sense of smell, and I can't smell. And I have a tendency to stutter now. But other than that, I have to accept this, because this is a part of life, and I can't go around saying, why me, why me? I have to get on with my life,
Like Murphy, Larry Cooper was an innocent bystander, injured while he was being robbed, shot 4 times, causing paralysis from the neck down. How do people treat you? What's your...
Baby sister, she used to play with me, like, but when she first came to see me, she wouldn't come near me. And that made me feel bad because, you know, before, she used to jump around, jump on. But then when she saw them tubes and stuff coming out of me, she like rejected me. And that's what really got me really upset, you know.
Once that bullet into your body, it's a whole new world for you. I mean, you even get to the point where you want to kill yourself, but you got to be strong-minded. You got to have the will to live, you know.
Did you ever get to that point, Dawn, that you didn't want to live anymore? You told me in the hall.
Yeah, when I came here to Goldwater, and I found out I had to use a wheelchair to get myself around. You know, these are my legs. I just wanted to lay in the bed and die.
So I didn't want to live no more. I couldn't picture myself in this chair. And if it wasn't for my mother, I wouldn't be living right now because I was in the age. Because when they asked to put the trach in my throat, I refused. But since I was underage, my mother had to sign the papers and stuff, so.
Are you glad she did it?
Yeah, yeah.
You don't sound sure.
I'm glad she did it because it's not all that bad as it seems, you know.
But it's pretty bad.
It's bad, but you get used to it.
Mm-hmm. Those of you who were involved in situations that were violent or potentially violent, did that ever did that have no effect on you? Did that bother you, Dawn, at all? I mean,
not at that time, because I was only thinking about one thing. I've been shot at, but thank God it missed, you know. I didn't even really think about it at that time. All I wanted was money, 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 you know, to live the life of the rich and famous. So I didn't really think about it then. I was like, I know a lot of people, you know, I know people, so I don't think it's gonna happen to me. I never thought it would happen to me.
Did you feel that way, Eddie? It wouldn't happen to you?
Yeah, it's the same way I felt, you know. I seen people get murdered. I seen people get shot at right in my face, you know. And I just looked at it like it wasn't nothing, you know. I never thought it would come down for me to be like this, you know. I always thought, damn, I just ain't care. I just want to make that money, you know.
So what message are you trying to put out there?
Put the guns down, pick up the books, that knowledge is the key to success, you know, and if you live in a drug-infested neighborhood, that doesn't mean you gotta hang out there, you know. Look for where the quiet neighborhoods is at, you know, like that. Keep away from the drug dealers and from wherever you see violence.
So all I got to say is, don't think like me and go on and do something better than what I did because it ain't worth it.
You feel that there are things that ought to be done out there in the streets, in society, that aren't being done now that might prevent the kinds of things that happen to you? Murphy, you shaking your head.
The politicians should give something back to the community, you know, because it's a shame that the kids don't have nowhere to go and they're a restless breed, you know what I'm saying? So they looking at the drug dealers and they figure, well, I'm not doing anything. I feel, you know, when I was growing up, we had drug centers, we had youth centers, we had places we can go after the schools closed, you know. We also had guys come around with the big brother role, you know, played big brothers and took us out on trips and stuff.
That made a difference?
Yeah, that made us different because, look, the people that I grew up with, most of them don't even have a record. You know, I don't even have a record, and I'm 31 years old. But when I went to Rikers Island, I seen all them young brothers in there. These guys got records. These guys got felonies, you know. Kids get more recreation inside the jail than they do out in the community. So it's like a resort to them.
Dawn, let me ask you this. If there were more centers, places for young people to go, do you think a young person like yourself would have been into any of that? I mean, would that make a difference, you think?
If I was aware of it, yes, it would have made a difference because I come from a single-parent home. And my mother, she always had to work all the time. And I was always over my grandmother's house. I wanted to go out, you know, and so I went out and found out the wrong way. If there was a place for me to go, then maybe I would have went there instead of to, you know, the negative.
Mm-hmm. What about guns, Pedro? Getting guns off the street, gun control. Do you think that would make a difference? How much of a difference?
I think it'll make a big difference because the less guns are out there on the streets, the less bullets are going to be fired and the less people are going to be getting hurt.
How hard was it for you to get a gun? Eddie, how hard was it to get?
It was no problem for me.
You favor the death penalty for people who shoot other people or kill them?
Nah, but I think the guy who shot me, I think he already favored his death penalty. I think he already got the death penalty.
Oh, you think he's been done away with?
Yeah. So I don't know.
This changed your life and your outlook on life and yourself?
Definitely, definitely. I thought that for the rest of my life, all I would be doing is stand on that same corner, you know, selling those drugs. But I'm glad that God showed me there was another way for me to go besides that. I don't have to be bothered.
Since I got hurt, I come to realize my profession is counseling, talking to the young kids, helping kids that don't have parents and have one parent in the family, and kids that need somebody to talk to, you know. So I take all that energy and convert it into helping my little brothers and sisters.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime.
Again, the main story of this Wednesday was the presidential campaign. President Bush proposed a $20 billion package of tax breaks and regulatory relief for small businesses. Governor Clinton said if he is elected, he would establish an economic security council to help rebuild the nation. Good night, Robin.
Good night, Judy. That's the News Hour for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night with a campaign issue and debate on health care. I'm Robert McNeil. Good night.
Funding for the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour has been provided by PepsiCo. PepsiCo. Part of helping the world live and communicate better is keeping it well informed. That's why funding for the News Hour is also provided by AT&T. And by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and viewers like you.
Video cassettes of the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour are available from PBS Video. Call 1-800-328-PBS1.
This is PBS.